Hello everyone, Monty here, and today's chat is entitled There's No Magic Pill. So I got this idea for this chat, which I'm going to kind of combine a lot of chats together, because I got a couple of questions yesterday and today about things that really frustrate me when I get the question. I'll tell you why it frustrates me. I don't have a lot of spare time. My whole life, I work like 12 hours a day, I work out. I'm training at night, and between posting and making my food, literally every second in my day is accounted for. From the time I wake up and feed the dogs, walk the dogs, make my bed. I'm not making breakfast in the morning, so I'm saving a little time doing intermittent fasting, but my whole day is like boom, 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 boom until I go to sleep at night. I have like no free time. So people ask me a question, I always feel like I have to answer every question. And when somebody asks me a question that I can't answer because I don't have enough time, it kind of frustrates me, right? Because I feel bad, right? So it frustrates me. And also, it frustrates me because I realize that people just don't understand that there's no magic pill. Like, they can't ask me a question like, Monty, what's your answer for emotional eating? Or that was one of the questions today. Yesterday it was, I'm stuck. And I've had this question a million times. I'm stuck. I get this question maybe twice a week, right? I'm stuck. I just can't lose any weight, or I'm not losing. What's your tip, Monty, for that? Like, I have this magic tip, this magic pill. Oh, just do this and you're going to be fine. Right? And it frustrates me because, there are so many things you have to do to unstuck yourself, stop emotional eating, lose weight. It's not just one thing. There's no, you watch all these commercials and I get so angry. Oh, just drink this shake. Oh, just take this burn pill. Or there's a couple of things named burn, so I'm not calling one out. Or take this other thing and take this, and you'll lose 15 pounds. It's like, bullshit, right? It's not going to work. No, you got to go back to the basics. It's eating healthy, exercise, but you got to do a little bit more. We live in an age of data analytics, and you have to track what you eat and find out what patterns. I talked about the other day when I use Lose It, which is the calorie counter I use. It says, we notice eating pattern. On days that you eat this, you tend to lose weight. On days you stay within your calories, On days you eat this, you tend to go above your calories. So there's like negative and positive eating patterns. And I always tell everyone that you have to track your calories, not just because the main reason is calories in, calories burned. It's all about calories in, calories burned to lose and maintain weight. But it's also to identify things that throw you off track and things that actually keep you on track. Like maybe you eat a certain type of food high in fiber that keeps you full, so you're not going to eat. You're not going to gain weight that week because you're eating a certain food that keeps you full, keeps you within your calories. Or even something like, I've noticed this with many people that I've mentored, things like really high in sugar, like bananas, even though it's healthy. People who eat like a banana or 2 bananas a day, sometimes they learn from looking in their tracker that they gain weight when they eat too many bananas, right? I know that I can eat 2 bananas a day. Most people can't do that. They'll gain weight. So you have to really use the tracker. So let's go back to the emotional eating, because somebody was asking me that question today. So anytime somebody asks me a question like that, if anybody would answer them, emotional eating, this is what you do, and they say one thing, they're a fraud. If somebody says they're stuck, and I can't lose any weight, and somebody answers them with one thing, then they're a fraud, right? In order to answer that question, I would have to ask the person a million questions. Let's take emotional eating, for example. I'd have to say, okay, what time of day do you typically, emotionally eat? Is there a time of day? Is there something that leads up to it that kind of makes you want to go emotionally eat? Is it an argument with your husband or your kids? Or what kind of usually precipitates the emotional eating? What are your go-to emotionally eating foods, right? Because there's so many different things, how are you feeling at the time that happened? So let's tell you what I would tell you if I was mentoring you, which I don't mentor people anymore because I don't have the time. I used to do it a long time ago. But I would do all those things. I would say keep a diary. I would always say keep in your calorie counter. Go to the days where you're having emotional eating problems and look at the things that you're eating. I read an interesting article. That one article was going deep into how bad artificial sweeteners are and how they screw up your microbiome, and they've made a connection between your microbiome and mental health, and that some people who their microbiome is all screwed up, they're having not depression, suicidal issues, all these things that made these connections. It was one study that I read, but it was one that I read. So it may be something that you're eating that's really throwing you off. It may just be you got. I mean, I don't have children, but if you have children, you got a husband, that's a lot of work right there, right? That's a lot of frustration. They'd be doing all kinds of crazy things that make you want to, eat and go crazy, right? So what I would say is figure out, is it food? Are there things that I'm not maybe missing from my diet on those days that are making me more edgy and making me more emotional and making me want to eat more? So that would be one thing, and kind of look in your tracker on the days that you have emotional eating problems, if that's what's going on. Then I would say also look at the time of day. Is there typically a time of day? Because to relieve yourself of the emotional eating, if it's nighttime, normally my first thing would say, if you want to emotionally eat, it's because you're emotionally, I would say get some exercise. It raises the endorphins. Sometimes when I'm really hungry, and I say to myself, oh, I really should eat something before I work out. Sometimes I get a better workout when I'm even on an empty stomach than I do on a full stomach. And you should wait at least 45 minutes anyway after you eat before you go work out. But if you're saying you emotionally eat late at night, that's when you want to eat. I wouldn't tell you to go work out because, that could make you stay up all night. And sleep is very important, right? So I notice the more sleep deprived I am, the more hungry I am. I'm just like always saying, I'm so tired, and I'm wanting to eat because emotionally I'm so tired. I feel that eating will give me the energy, and I can keep going on and on and on. So then I would say, okay, if it is late at night, you see where I'm going? There's a long list of like all the things you want to check on and say, okay, well, if it's late at night, you don't want to exercise because that's going to keep you up, and the sleep's important because then if you're tired, you're probably going to eat more the next day because you're so tired. But maybe you need to take a hot bath, drink lots of water. I talked about this before, that anytime you are hungry, 70% of the time, I read an article once, you're really dehydrated or you need fluids, and the brain confuses being dehydrated with hunger. So you may need to check your water. Meditate. Go meditate and try to relax your brain because you're focusing on all the stuff that's making you want to do something with all the stuff that's going on in your head, and that's going to do to eat. So meditate, clear the mind. Do something nice for yourself. Maybe take a bubble bath, right? Or do some, what do you call it? I hate when this accepts my hands. When you have like a nice, I forgot what it's called, but a nice lotion that smells really well or something like that. Or get one of these diffusers like with lavender that shoots stuff, steams into the air and puts a nice smell in the room, make you feel better. I mean, there's so many things you can do. But again, I would go back to one of the basics I always talk about to really stop you in that mindset these are all great things you can do too, but the number one thing I use every day when I'm trying, like last night I was really hungry, I'm starting intermittent fasting, I'm like, oh, I can just go eat one thing, it's only 9 o'clock, I'm supposed to stop eating at 8, and I had to use the Tony Robbins leverage technique and talk to myself. So with Tony Robbins, I always talk about this, I'll talk about it again. The Tony Robbins leverage technique says that as humans, we're driven by 2 major basic instincts: seek out pleasure and avoid pain, with avoiding pain being a bigger driver. So if you make anything more painful than pleasurable, you won't do it, right? So you eat because you think it's gonna make you feel better, right? But if you go over all the pros and cons, the cons of eating when you're feeling this way, and you start going through the list, like last night I said, well, Monty, I really wanna show people that I lose weight on intermittent fasting, so I don't wanna be eating that food. And if I eat the food, then I'm not going to lose weight. People are watching me now. They know I'm doing intermittent fasting. I'll never get this last 10 pounds on. I look at those pictures the other day of what I looked like at 8% body fat. I really want to get there again. I'm never going to get there if I keep, and by the time you keep going over and over in your head, all these things, it exhausts you, right? It just absolutely exhausts you. So again, whether it's you say you're stuck, you're not losing weight as fast, you're not losing weight at all, whether you are saying you want to stop emotional eating, it's not just one thing. You have to do so many things. You could use visualization techniques, say, hey, I visualize me at my goal weight, like me being back at 8%, and what does somebody at 8% do? Do they eat late at night? No, they don't. Do they emotionally eat? No, they don't. They figure out something else to do, right? So you could do some self-care. You can put on some, aromatherapy. That's what I couldn't think about before. Aromatherapy, whether it's a nice lotion or a diffuser. I've got like a diffuser with some lavender oil that I put in. It makes my bedroom smell really nice late at night because that's when I tend to eat. And I get very stressed out and eat emotionally from stress and being overtired. Get enough sleep. Make sure you're drinking lots of water. If it's not late at night, exercise. Use the Tony Robbins technique, go over the reasons over and over again. Make it more painful for you to emotionally eat than not to emotionally eat. And take a look at your tracker again. I'm going to go through all this again. On the days that you tend to emotionally eat, or the weeks that you're not losing weight, that you're stuck, what type of foods you're eating. And Tony Robbins once said something that always really stuck with me, right? And I'm not perfect. I always go back to old habits, but Tony Robbins says we as humans are focusing on what we're doing wrong so much in life, instead of focusing on what did we do right when we were successful. So when I was really gaining a lot of weight on the Weight Watcher program, when they switched over to 0 Point Foods, and I just went crazy and I gained like 12 pounds immediately. I went to counting calories and it worked. Then I gained a little bit of weight and I went to counting calories and intermittent fasting. And for years after that, I was like ripped beyond belief. And so why did I stop doing it? I convinced myself I needed to eat early in the morning because I was teaching a lot of classes in the morning at this one project I was at, and then I never got back into it. Once you get out of something, it's hard to get back into it. So now I'm saying, okay, what was I doing at 8% body fat? For most of it, I was intermittent fasting, which I just started doing again 4 days ago. I was calorie counting, which I've never stopped calorie counting, and thank God I've only gained 10 pounds. Can you imagine through all the stress I've had in the last 6-7 months? If I didn't calorie count, I probably would have gained 30 or 40, which was typically what I did when I was doing the ups and downs from a majority of my life. 4 times I gained like between 30 and 50 pounds. So I'm going back to my basics. I'm going back to what I did when I was successful, and that's what I'm doing. So again, I hope you guys found this really interesting. Again, it's not just one thing. There's no magic pill in life. It's hard work, and it's a lot of different techniques and things you have, and analysis, using the data in your tracker to see what kind of food you're eating and the weeks that you're successful, not successful, and all these other other stuff that you can do that will help facilitate you being successful in your program. So it's a lot of things you got to do and focus upon, and I hope this was kind of enlightening. This is a lunchtime chat. I need to get back to work. I just made my lunch, which I just posted, and it was dal makhani on a bed of hearts of palm pasta. I threw the palm pasta in a bowl, microwaved it, then threw it on a plate, threw the dal makhani on another bowl, microwaved it, threw that on top of the pasta on the plate, and it was delicious. 490 calories, huge plate of food, huge, so delicious, and I made it like in 3 minutes. It was so good. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed today's chat, and I'll be talking to you tomorrow.